We're living in this incredibly connected world, right? But think about it. How often does a really brilliant idea just get stuck, or worse, completely misunderstood, just because of a language barrier? Well, today, we're looking at a piece of tech that claims to fix that, not in weeks, not in days, but in less time than it takes to brew a cup of coffee. And this quote from Ignatia Hare at the Gemini 3 Hackathon really gets to the heart of it. It's such a simple, powerful idea. It's not just about translating words, it's about tearing down the walls that are holding back global ideas and innovation. So let's dig into that idea. Because in a global market, just knowing the language is only half the battle. The really tricky part? The deep cultural differences. And that's the problem we're unpacking today. And trust me, getting it wrong can be a very, very expensive mistake. I mean, it happens all the time. You have this killer marketing slogan that just nails it in one country, but you take it somewhere else and suddenly it's confusing, maybe even a little offensive. And that's not just some awkward moment. It's a mistake that can completely torpedo a global product launch. Let's look at a real-world example. Okay, this is where the theory gets real. We're going to walk through a classic marketing scenario that shows you just how easy it is for things to go completely off the rails when you cross cultural borders. All right, so picture this. A super successful skincare company from the West has a hot new anti-aging cream. Their whole campaign is built around this slogan, "Fight Aging." And the images, they show a woman literally, in a battle with her wrinkles. In a lot of Western cultures, that works. That idea of defiance, of struggle, it's motivating. It sells product. But what happens when you try to take that exact same campaign to Japan? Well, this is where you see the total disconnect. The word fight itself comes across as really aggressive, kind of confrontational, in a culture that often prizes harmony. But it's deeper than that. The whole idea of battling aging is a massive misstep. In Japan, age is often tied to wisdom, to respect. It's not something you declare war on. So the campaign isn't just poorly translated, its entire core message is just culturally wrong. This right here is exactly the kind of costly, brand-damaging headache that Ignacia Hire wanted to solve. And her solution, which she actually built during a hackathon, is called PolyGlot Studio. So how's it work? It's actually brilliantly simple. First, you just upload your whole campaign, the slogan, the text, the images, the whole shebang. Then the AI does its thing. It analyzes not just the words, but the relationship between the words, the pictures, and the cultural norms of your target market. And here's the best part. It doesn't just tell you what's wrong. It gives you culturally smart alternatives and explains why they work better. And check this out. This is the tool in action. The fix for our skincare brand? It suggests swapping fight aging for embrace graceful aging. See that? The whole vibe changes from a battle to one of harmony. And it suggests pairing this new slogan with calm, serene images, completely shifting the tone to actually align with Japanese cultural values. Now, getting to a solution that nuanced, that would normally take a whole team of experts, weeks of research and creative meetings. But the time it took this AI, well, this is what makes it a flat-out revolution. 47 seconds. That's it. That's the total time it took for PolyGlot Studio to take in that problematic campaign, analyze the heck out of it, and spit out a perfectly adapted, culturally aware alternative with a full explanation. 47 seconds. So let's just put that into perspective. What usually takes marketing agencies and localization teams about 2 weeks, 2 weeks of back-and-forth emails, research, and creative work can now be done in less time than it takes to check your phone. That is an absolutely staggering leap forward. So what's the magic trick here? How in the world can an AI grasp something as complex as cultural nuance so ridiculously fast? Well, the answer is a special kind of intelligence that really sets this new generation of AI apart. It's called multimodal intelligence. Sounds fancy, but the idea is actually pretty straightforward. It just means the AI isn't only reading text or only looking at a picture, it's understanding the deep connection between them. It can see how different kinds of info, text, images, cultural data, all weave together to create one single unified meaning. Okay, so let's tie that back to our skincare example. The AI, Gemini 3, could see that the aggressive word fight was tied to the aggressive image of a woman battling her wrinkles. It didn't process them as two separate things. It saw one unified aggressive message, and because of that, it knew that this message would clash with the target culture. That's a level of understanding that is light years beyond just simple word-for-word translation. And this really gets us to the big takeaway. This technology is a fundamental shift in how we need to think about crossing cultural divides. It's not about finding the perfect word anymore. It's about finding the right feeling, the right concept. I think this final quote from Ignatia Heyer just says it all. The goal isn't just to avoid getting lost in translation anymore. The new goal is to be found in adaptation. It's about proactively understanding and respecting a culture and then reshaping your message so it truly resonates. And that really leaves us with a wild thought, doesn't it? If an AI can solve these incredibly complex marketing and cultural problems in 47 seconds, what's next? I mean, think about diplomacy or education or even global scientific collaboration. What other barriers that we think of as impossible are just about to crumble?